G'day Trendsetters. That little intro you just saw was me dragging a wool bale bag full of clippings and weeds and prunings from work, and from the back of the car to the compost engine room is about 70 metres, which it's not smart thinking in my book when you have things at the opposite ends of your block. I've got a really long skinny block, so that was me dragging it up to here, but here we are. Okay, so what I want to do with the compost today is I've got a bin there just out of frame, was empty. This one was, I had filled last week. It had sunk down, it was about 2/3 full, probably even less. So I've taken everything out of there and put it into there because I did the same thing the week before. So that one there is nearly full. These two are nearly empty, and I think I've got enough material here with that bag of clippings from work to actually fill both these bins. This one, both these bins, I will put some chopped up ginger. I've got a ginger here that's not doing that well because of the dry weather, and it's growing further out than I want it to, so I want to reduce its size. So I've cut it back and I'll put that in the bottom of the bin first because it's big and chunky, which will allow a lot more air to be stored in the bottom of the bin for the microbes and bacteria and all that sort of stuff, to be able to use it to break everything down. And normally I would just fill this bin and bring this one into here, but today I will just fill both these bins equally, and I'm hoping that they'll break down enough and I'll get this one into there, and then I'll have another empty bin here. Now, I don't know if you want to see all the ins and outs. So I've got a little time lapse of me emptying this bin into that bin, but this takes a fair bit of time to set it all up, break it all up. I've got some cardboard boxes there, I've got some dried grass clippings, I've got 5 bags of stable horse manure there if I need to bring the levels right to the top. That's basically it. So I might just do a time lapse and you can sort of fill in the gaps of what I'm doing. But that's basically it. It's just whatever I can get my hands on. I've got some egg cartons there. I bought a Ryobi brush cutter, little battery cordless brush cutter a month or so ago. I'll break that up and put it in. I've got comfrey. I'll do a little separate video about comfrey one day, but I've got comfrey. I can harvest that, put it in. I've got some old Brussels sprouts that I planted too late and they haven't come to anything. Chop them up, that'll go in. Kitchen waste will go in. That'll probably do. But anyhow, it's about all there is to it. The only thing crucial at this stage for compost is getting your moisture levels right, which is why I like to have these 2 bins going, because I can dig them all out. If they're too dry or too wet, I can dry them out or wet them up and put them back in and get the whole thing started. Whereas if you just have 2 bins and you fill this one up, unless you dig it out and plonk it on the ground or something like that, you really don't know if you've got your moisture levels right. And your moisture level, basically, how it was explained to me is you want it like a tea bag after you pull it out of your cup of tea, squeeze the water out, and that's what's left is the damp tea leaves. That's kind of how you want the moisture levels in your compost. Also, over the years, you'll get to know if it's too wet or too dry, and you need to add some straw or sugarcane mulch, leaves, whatever you can find to dry it out. If it's too dry, obviously just add more water. And that's about it. Compost, it's not overcomplicated when you're using these bins. Probably why I like the system as much as I do. Just 2 things before I go. I've just filled this bin, and while I was filling it, I was thinking what I could do is, if anyone's interested, I will record me filling this bin, as painful as it would be for some people, at normal speed, but I'll put it up, I'll put a link in the description, and you can follow that, and it'll be an unlisted video, so it won't show up on my channel, but you'll be able to watch it if you want. Second thing also I was thinking about while I was filling this bin was what they call a carbon nitrogen ratio, the green and brown ratio.
In the beginning it used to bother me a lot, but now I don't bother about it much at all, because basically I think they want 3 or 2 parts brown to 1 part nitrogen, and that just never happens in the real world as far as I can tell. I've always got a truckload of nitrogen or green stuff and bugger all brown, so I just throw the whole lot in. If there's a lot of green in there, it'll get a bit smelly and it'll get a bit gooey, but as long as you keep turning it and keep putting air into it, it will sort itself out. That's the beauty of compost. It will look after itself as long as you keep paying it attention, I suppose. Getting air into it. I think getting air, which is why I'm always turning my bins. The air is the most important part. Water is the second most important part. What you put in, just whatever you got, just put it in, compost it. Our recyclable bin, I think it's probably got half a dozen milk bottle containers in the bottom each fortnight, because that's the only thing I can't recycle in any sort of way. Everything else either goes to the container, the money for containers, or into the compost. So there you go, that's it. Anyhow, continue. I'll flick over to time-lapse mode, and hopefully you'll stick around to the end. If not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.